So starting on the blue line, tell us about Ron Hainsey. Obviously, he's 3 weeks off of a Stanley Cup championship. He fits for your group. How and why?
Well, first of all, he's a veteran. He's won, and he's had success no matter where he's been as far as playing with offensive partners. So we feel he'll come up in the top 4 and will, serve a purpose.
Dominic Moore, good story, coming back to Toronto for another tour of duty. He still skates like the wind. What does he bring to your team?
Well, he'll fit right in on the 4th line as far as penalty killer. And, we feel that after the year he's had, probably one of the better years he's had, that it's a perfect replacement for Brian Ball.
You could have gone anywhere with backup goalies. You bring Curtis back.
Curtis did a great job for us. He really did. And he's quality character, gets along with, Freddie, and that's so important, for the number of games he has to play.
For what it's worth, lots of people have been linking you and Patrick Marleau, the Maple Leafs and Patrick Marleau, and he hasn't made a decision yet. Is that a player that you are pursuing or will continue to pursue, and then just do you see him as a fit here?
Well, those are questions, and don't read into it that we don't even discuss whether it is or it isn't. That's just not something that we discuss, and we try and stay consistent on that.
Still, how much more work do you think you have to do in free agency?
Well, right now we're just listening to see what transpires with the players that are there, and also to see if other teams are making movements because of whether it's cap trouble. So we're really listening. We feel very good about what we've done. We wanted to put a veteran defenseman into the lineup, replacing Matt Hunwick, who's moved on, and also a 4th-line center that we felt could accept that role, understands what it is, and also has done it very well over the years.
You mentioned about Dominic over the years. Everywhere he goes, he brings value, thought as a highly thought-of professional, yet he bounces around almost to a team per year. Any theories as to why he hasn't found a home, but he still is a highly valued player?
No, I couldn't answer that. We've always been interested in him over the years myself, where I came from. So the only thing I know is successful wherever he goes. So that's all that counts.
It would seem that prices today were reasonable from your perspective, just from your team, what it was looking for. Can you comment on that, and maybe where you are cap-wise? How do you feel you are?
Well, first of all, we do not have a cap problem, and we have plenty of room. But you don't look at it because you have room that you spend money. I think that we've been in a process. Brendan put a plan in place a few years ago, and no matter what's transpired, we've tried to stay with that, and I think we have. And I think that whenever we put additions in, there has to be for a reason. And now we've put someone in defense who's won a Stanley Cup. It can really help the players there. And remember, we had 2 other signings earlier in the year, I should say 3, 2 defensemen, and a center iceman, which we felt we needed in depth. And so we feel very good about it right now. And remember, a lot of our improvement has to come from within, the players that we have. And you have to make sure that any additions you make do not take away from their growth.
Speaking of going from within, you had so many young guys. It was most of the moves last year. They obviously had a good year. Is that what kind of helped you make more of a conscious effort to kind of support them with more veteran guys? Was veterans like what you guys were pursuing going into a free agency like this? Because you factor age and stuff like that.
I think having the perfect blend of veterans, it's not really the number. And I think that last year we saw when we brought Brian Boyle in, and Fuhrer in, and also Hunwick, and the value of that. And I think knowing from my past of how important that is, and now with those players gone, we felt it was important to have the Dominic Moores and the Ron Haisleys, and we know the type of character they are and who they are and the success they've had. So yes, it is important.
Hainsey mentioned knowing Babcock's system, having played under Peters, was a disciple of Babcock for a few years in Carolina. How much does that factor into when you're targeting guys, knowing that they're going to be able to come in here and adapt pretty quickly to what you guys are trying to do?
Well, it's certainly part of the thought process. It's not a determining factor, right, because players adjust to coaches, but it's an asset to have that happen, because the transition will be certainly much easier if there's any transition needed.
Hainsey and Moore both talked to the media and said that one of the biggest motivations was kind of the team that you have in place and how close they feel this group is to winning. Just how much does it help to get free agents when you're coming off a year that you are and when you have the high-end young talent you do?
Well, there's no question it helps. And I think that, you know, they watched the team play last year, and in the conversations I've had with them, you know, they were excited. And you know, like all of us, watching the type of players we have, I mean, and the pace that Mike uses, and you know, veterans like that, it's only going to get them energized. It's going to push them a little harder in the support. So it is important.
Brought Colin Greene back on a one-year deal. Obviously spent last year in the American Hockey League, but what was it about his, I guess, possibly his attitude, the way he went about spending the year in the AHL that you felt was worthwhile to bring him back again this year? Well,
he's a consummate pro. I mean, the way he handled, you know, in the minors and the job he did with the minor league players or the American League players was just phenomenal. And also, we feel that he can still play. Mm-hmm. And I think he's motivated to come back to try and win a job. If not, he's, you know, satisfied with mentoring the players and being ready if called upon. And that's important when you have a player like that that accepts, you know, who he is, where he's at, and what he can contribute.
Brock Garrett Sparks back on a deal. Sheldon Keefe referred to him last year as maybe the Marlies MVP when he was able to stay healthy. Where do you see his development at as he works towards you know, playing in the NHL more permanently? Well,
I think that the only thing that we have to get is to try and keep him healthy. Mm-hmm. I think that every time things seem to go well, he gets an injury. So he's working very hard at it this summer. We've put him in a 2-year contract so that to make him understand that we believe in him, and now it's up to him to, you know, do what has to be done to get that opportunity.
Today was a little bit about UFAs, but you got a couple of RFAs. Can you share where you are with Connor Brown and Zach Hyman in terms of where you are with them?
Why do you ask?
I always ask those questions. If you could ask.
It's amazing. You keep trying. They'll be here, you know, when October comes. How's that?
What's the last medical update you had on Roman Polak, and can you gauge any level of interest you may have?
Well, he had a serious injury, as we all know, and he's progressing. The doctors are pleased with his progression. Other than that, I have no other update other than there's no setbacks, which is the most important thing.
How about you got a bunch of rookies coming in, a bunch of very young players coming in to camp next week. What do you hope they can learn in the 6 or 7 days they'll be here?
Well, I think what we like to have happen is that they understand what the philosophy is, what the culture is, and what's expected of them, and also get to know each other, meet the coaches, understand exactly you know, what the Maple Leafs are all about, and also give us an opportunity to see, you know, how they play and what they're doing.